Welcome to the Endurance Horse Podcast, where endurance riders from all across the globe gather, sharing their stories, goals, and progress as they train for and compete in endurance events at every level. So kick off your shoes, pull up a chair, and listen as we gather around the virtual campfire and listen to friends from across the world.
Hello and welcome to episode 57 of Endurance Horse Podcast. Today on Endurance Horse Podcast, I have the pleasure of chatting with lifelong endurance rider Cameron Holzer. Cameron has been involved with horses and endurance since a very young age. Cameron has 14,000 lifetime endurance miles and has represented the USA at the 2018 World Equestrian Games. This year, Cameron and her homebred mare, Fancy Finesse, made it into the top 5 finish at Tevis 2022, placing 5th. Such an amazing accomplishment to have bred, raised, trained, and competed on a horse that was once just a dream and now is an idea come to life. Without further ado, I welcome you to episode 57 of Endurance Horse Podcast.
Hey, Christina, how are you?
I'm good. Hi, Cameron. How are you doing?
I'm good. Got home yesterday.
That's a long drive, right? You have to drive back to Houston?
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you some of the same questions. These tend to be some of the people's favorite questions to hear about riders is, how did you get into horses?
When I was little, I just loved horses. My mom started taking me out to the barn, and she would just set me on the horses, and I would ride around. And then I started getting lessons, and then I did my first horse show when I was 5. I did like hunter jumper stuff for a few years, and then I started doing endurance when I was 10.
Was your mom also a rider?
Yeah, she grew up with horses, and then she wasn't around them for a while, and then after she had me and my brother, that's when she started taking us out to the barn and stuff, so she started riding again also.
That's awesome. How did you find out about endurance?
No, so we didn't own any horses. I showed ponies at this hunter jumper barn. My mom and dad found out about Daryl and Butler through somebody, and so they went out and went on a trail ride with her. And then the next time they went out there, they took me out there. They were like, oh, my daughter's going to love this.
And they were right. You did love it. So I imagine that's probably also how you found out about the 100-mile distance. How did that become the distance of your choice, or is it the distance of your choice?
It's definitely the distance I like to do the most. So I did my first year in endurance because we started with Daryl, and she already had horses that were up and going. So my first year in endurance, I rode a horse that was already seasoned. And I did 400s on him, and I knew then, that I really, really liked.
Do you know about how old you were when you started riding 100?
I did my first 400s when I was 10.
When you were 10. Wow. So, yeah. That's pretty amazing. That's quite a feat to have done at 10 years old. That's amazing.
Yes, I completed the Old Dominion 100 when I was 10 also. I believe I'm still the youngest person who ever completed the Old Dominion 100.
That's a great record to have. That's pretty amazing. So you have, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have over 14,000 AERC miles?
I would need to look it up, but yes, I do have a lot.
And, just to let the listeners get to know you a little bit better, so you were also a part of the World Equestrian Game team in 2018, but unfortunately that ride got canceled. But what was that like for you to try to qualify for that? I imagine that was a dream come true, and then, unfortunately to have it end like that by having them cancel the endurance ride.
Well, the ride happened. We did I think I did 85 miles of it before they canceled it. So it was still like I got to do the whole thing. So it was very fun for me. I loved it. It was awesome. I wish that USEF would get their act together because, I would never, because of how poorly I was treated there by USEF, and by the chef to keep and all the people involved, I would never ride FEI again because of that. So it really is a shame because I do have fantastic horses that would love to represent the United States, but it's just really political trying to ride FEI, and they were really awful to me. So I enjoyed it because it had been a dream of mine, so I'm happy that I got to do it.
Everything I read about it was that it was quite a, you would be able to phrase it better than I did, but it was full of confusion and not quite running smooth as it should have been.
Yeah, they just pick whoever they want. They don't pick based on the horse's records, which now they've kind of tried to change that, but it's isn't a great system because people can just host a bunch of rides and then they can charge a $2,000 entry fee so nobody can enter the ride but themselves. So people are still finding ways around the newer system, and there's really nothing that they can do about that. And it's like, unless you're insanely wealthy and you can spend any amount of money on a ride entry, then it doesn't make it affordable for the average person.
So what do you think they could do to fix it? I mean, should it be lifetime miles of the horse or some kind of points, or what do you think would help to fix that?
It would be nice if they looked at the AERC record of the horse, because that is something that anybody can go out and do AERC rides. That is not as expensive. That would be nice if AERC rides were included. And I do feel like they should look at the races for the past 2 years, but also look at the whole body of work that the horse has done.
I'm surprised that they don't. I'm surprised to hear that they don't consider the AERC record, because that would be a pretty complete record in most cases.
Yes, yeah. If they would look at AERC, that would definitely be very helpful.
So I had a few questions for you about training and your Tevis journey. So you live in Texas, and do you have a lot of hills to train on there? And I was wondering, if you don't, how do you train your horse for the altitude gain and the altitude loss? You ended up top 5 there, so I think you know what you're doing. So we would love to have some tips from you.
Yeah, so I live in Houston. There is no hills here in Houston. The only hill training my horses get is, and I had 3 horses complete. I owned 5th place, 6th place, and the horse that finished 14th place also. And my horse that got 6th and my horse that got 14th, Kong and Maggie, that was both of their 3rd Tevis completion. They are on their way towards the 5 to get on the trophy. For conditioning, I keep them very fit. And my horses are I always ride them in rides here in Texas up in the front. So my horses are used to their heart rate getting high. They're used to breathing hard. They're used to working hard. So I feel like that translates to no matter where I take them. I do try to take them to hilly races, like this year and last year. I took them to Tennessee's race in Colorado. Last year, my mom got 3rd place on her horse. It finished 6th this year. We did Spanish Peaks, and then it went out to Tevis, and my mom got 3rd. We did the same thing this year, went out to Spanish Peaks. I rode all 4 of my horses out there. Then 3 of those 4 horses that I rode at Spanish Peaks went on and did Tevis 5th, 6th, and 14th. The only conditioning they get for hills is when I take them somewhere.
So you're more along the line of the heart rate training than mileage for the week? Or what would a typical bringing a horse up from, say, 50s to 100, what would that look like for you?
I train them the same as for 50s as I do for 100s. My training is no different. I do 2 short rides a week and then 1 longer ride a week.
Can you share with us about your Tevis 2022 and how that went for you out on the trail this year?
Yes, yeah. So I was riding a homebred mare this was her first 100, and she's very young. I really, since this horse was 3 and I started her under saddle, I couldn't wait to take her to Tevis. I knew immediately when I started her that she was going to be capable of winning Tevis, and I do think that she will win Tevis in the future. She is a very, very awesome horse. She has amazing natural endurance and very strong legs. So I really wanted to ride one of my other, I wasn't really sure who I wanted to ride. And then I got out there, and then somebody wanted to lease one of my horses, so he got leased. And then another one of my friends wanted to ride another one of my horses that he had ridden her in her first Tevis, John Stevens, with Maggie. And then I was like, I'm going to ride Finesse. So I rode her, and I was just going to take it easy with her and kind of go through with Kong and his rider to see how she does. But then it was very evident once we got into the canyons that I was really holding her back. I was having to do a lot of walking because Kong is not as fast downhill. He's very, very good uphill, but he's not as fast downhill. And Finesse is very fast downhill. So at Chicken Hawk, we decided to split off. The rider riding Kong wanted to slow down. I wanted to speed up. So then I sped up. And after Forest Hill, I caught up with my other horse, Maggie, that John Stevens was riding. Rode together with him for a little bit until Lower Quarry. And then he was just taking a little bit longer at the vetting, so then I just went on and went out. And then I caught up with Heather Reynolds and just came on into the finish with her. But, yeah, my horse, she was very strong all day. I was very, very proud of her. She competed just like I always knew she would, but there's still, you're like, is she going to really do great? Yeah, she did amazing.
So her name is CH Fancy Finesse, correct?
Yes.
And you bred her?
Yes.
What were the bloodlines you picked?
So I have this mare, Pocket Rocket, that I've had. I bought her when she was 5, and it's funny, I sold her a few times, and she always keeps coming back to me. I always, tell people, like, this is an outstanding producing mare, and it's like nobody believes me, So it's like, they're like, oh, no, we don't want her. It's like, okay, well, that's your loss. I'll take her back then.
And who did you pick for the sire?
Pocket Rocket is French bred. She's mostly 3/4 French, 1/4 Polish. The sire is a stallion named KS Tribute. He is in Colombia. I bought his frozen semen from Kong's breeder, Donna Koss. Mm-hmm. So when Kong was doing so good, Kong is now, he's turning 13 next month. I was like, I want to breed another Shagia. I really like Kong. Kong is very, very tough, and his record is just unbelievable. So I contacted his breeder, and she was like, I don't have any, frozen semen from his sire, but I do have frozen semen from this other stallion that I imported with Dante that I like a lot, KS Tribute. So I bought frozen semen from her. I bred that semen with my favorite mare, Pocket Rocket, and got Finesse. So, and then this year I actually have a full sister to Finesse born. After Finesse did her first 25, it was evident she was going to be a champion. So I went on and bred and bought more frozen semen and bred another one. So I actually have a full sister to Finesse that's 4 months old right now.
Oh, cute.
So because of my love for Kong, that's why I bred her. And it's amazing that she turned out to be just as impressive and amazing. I mean, that rarely does that actually happen.
Yeah. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing you got that done. Yeah. So considering how well you did this year with top 5, could you share some hauling tips? Because you hauled quite a long distance just to get to Tevis, and in some pretty hot weather. So could you share with us just that transportation part of what do you do to keep your horse hydrated and get them acclimated to a new environment when you're hauling long distance?
So my horses, I haul them all over the country all the time. I mean, I go to Tennessee, I take them to South Carolina, I'll go to Florida, I go to California, Colorado. I mean, I haul them all over the place. They're pretty used to that. I did go up to Colorado, and I was at Colorado, I guess, for about 10 days for doing Tennessee's race. And then I went from Colorado to Utah, spent the night at a family's place there, and then went from Utah to California, and then I stayed with John and Diane Stevens. When I'm hauling, I stop 2 times during the day to offer the horses water. If they aren't drinking, I'll offer them clean water first, and then I'll offer them, I'll put some feed in it and make it kind of like a soupy water, and then I'll offer them that.
Okay.
And I do that twice during each day when I'm traveling. And then I feel like I got pretty lucky with weather. I also do think it's important to get out there early. This year I was out there the earliest I've ever been. I think I was out there 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks early this year. Last year I just did 1 week early and it was fine. But you just want to make sure. Last year what I didn't like was I went to Colorado, I went home, and then I went back out to California. And then I ended up not starting because my horse was really skinny from too much hauling around. So I do think that it's important, if you are going to do a race close to Tevis, like I did with Colorado, you just go straight out there if it's on the way and not make your horse do more hauling. Because, the haul from Houston to Tevis, right before Tevis, is brutal heat. Yeah. I feel like I got really lucky this year because I just went from Colorado and I went north and then I cut across, so I didn't feel like I had to deal with such crazy heat because I was further north. But it is doable. But I do take the northern route from Houston, like the Albuquerque route. I don't go I-10. I feel like I-10 would be too hot.
For sure.
Pretty lucky driving home. Yesterday was only my last day with heat.
That's good. That's good. Can you share with us some of your most memorable moments from this year's Tevis, or any tips about getting to those cutoff points and making sure, like if you have some tactical tips for the canyons, do you get down and run them, or what do you do?
So I get off and I jog the steep downhills, and then I'll start walking up, and I'll go up as much as I can, tailing. And then when I get tired, I'll get back on. I did not have to do as much running with Finesse as I typically do with Kong when I ride him. My favorite part of Tevis, I love doing Cougar Rock with Finesse. That was really fun. I love getting to ride with Kong. So Kong, I'm the only rider that's ever ridden Kong up until Tevis. This Swedish rider, Caroline, came over and rode him, and she did a fantastic job. And it was really fun getting to ride with Kong on Finesse. That was amazing for me because it's like, because of my love for him, I made her, so that was very, very special. And then I also got to catch up with Maggie and ride with her. So that was really, really fun. And also getting to finish with Heather Reynolds was really cool, too.
I might have to...
like a Tevis icon.
I might have to just put this episode up next. I had another one pre-recorded to edit and put up this weekend, but I might have to do this one next because the last episode we did was Heather Reynolds. So this might fit together nicely.
Yeah. Did you have any other questions about the canyons? Did I answer the questions?
Yeah, or if there's any other part of the trail that you wanted to share about. I know a lot of people I am intimidated by riding at night. So I kind of was wondering, how do you cope with that?
It doesn't bother me. I've been doing endurance so long, riding at night. I only did 15 miles at night just from Francisco to the finish, so that it wasn't bad.
So ride faster so you don't have to ride at night, maybe.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, so like when you were asking me about the cutoff, I always ride fast, so I never worry about cutoff.
Yeah. Well, you got to have, the horse for it to make it that way. I was wondering, aside from Tevis, what is your other favorite, ride that you go to on a regular basis? Maybe it is, Spanish Peaks, or if there's something...
I love Spanish Peaks.
Yeah.
So last year was my first year to go, but I absolutely love it, and I want to do it every year. It's a beautiful race.
Yeah, with a great hostess, right?
Yes, she does a fantastic job.
Is there anything else about your Tevis journey this year that you'd want to share?
It was a real dream come true, getting to finish. Having 2 horses finish in the top 10, that was amazing. And then getting to show for the Hagen, which I showed my mom's horse last year, but getting to show my own horse and having to be one I bred, it was just very, very, very special. Something I've always wanted, finally getting that top 10. Because I was 11th in 2019, which was my last Tevis, so... It's nice to get up there, and it's nice to really feel like you're on a rocket when you leave Forest Hill.
Do you have any parting advice for our listeners about conditioning? We have quite the range of listeners and people that have been on the podcast, everywhere from, Tevis winners to people who are just starting out at intro rides. So maybe you could give some advice to those people who are listening that might just be starting out with distance riding, and they want to know the best way to start conditioning up their horse. Like you already mentioned that you do 3 days a week, so they get probably a day off in between. What does your typical, if you're starting out a new horse, what does your typical week look like for that first couple months?
If I'm starting out a new horse, I just take him out there and just kind of do a lot of slow trotting. Slow trotting for maybe 4 to 6 months. And then I'll start upping them and add in a little bit of cantering. Make sure you take your time with them. So do a couple, I recommend doing at least a full season, preferably 2 of 50s. But if you're trying to get to Tevis, I like for them to have 2 seasons. So some people like to do 25s, and that's fine. If you're doing a bunch of 25s, that still counts. That's still building a base and getting distance on them. So a season of 25s, a season of 50s, or 2 seasons of 50s, but you do want to they do need to be a seasoned horse and have strong legs, because at Tevis they are going to feel uncomfortable, and so that's why I recommend people that are trying to go out to do Tevis, try to ride some rides, finish some 50s in the top 10, so your horse gets a feeling of going a little faster, because a lot of people in the Texas area just like to ride slow, and that's fine, but then you take them out to California and the horse actually starts breathing up at that elevation, and the horse he's not used to that feeling. So then the horse gets uncomfortable, and then the horse might go metabolic. So it's definitely good. If you have hills, fantastic. But if you don't, your horse needs to be going a little bit faster so that when they get out there to the altitude, they're used to that heavy breathing, working hard. So, and you just can do that. If you want to do Tevis, just some races leading up to it that season before. Try to go a little bit faster and see how your horse does. Try to get him up there in the top 10. And I think that you'll have some good luck if your horse is consistently finishing in the top 10 easily. then you can go out there and finish Tevis.
But just to emphasize again, because I don't want anybody to miss over what you said at first, which was, 4 to 6 months of slow work. And then
before you take them to a race, yes.
And then 2 seasons of competing before you start going fast, because I feel responsible for the advice given on here, because I don't want somebody to go, oh yeah, train fast, and they didn't remember that you just said go slow for 4 to 6 months and then compete. So
and I'm just you just want to kind of go fast just the season before Tevis, so that by then your horse would have had the 4 to 6 months of slow riding, a season and a half of slower riding, and then you pick up the pace, just right before you want to go do Tevis.
So that they've got that heart rate conditioning already up there, and they don't get to that high altitude with uphills, downhills, and then feeling that uncomfortable strain on their heart. Well, Cameron, it's a pleasure talking to you, and we would love to have you back on Endurance Horse Podcast anytime. What is your next ride coming up?
I kind of just go race to race. I hadn't even decided I was going to do Tevis until after I did Spanish Peaks, because I'm very much all about the horse. I want my horses to come out of the race in perfect shape before I commit to the next race. So I just got home last night from Tevis. So there's probably a race, and there's a race here, Armadillo. I guess it's going to be the national championship next year. That's here in Texas in October. I'll probably ride my mare that didn't do Tevis summer. I'll probably maybe ride her in 100 there.
Great. Well, good luck, and we hope you have a good rest of your season.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
We enjoyed having you along for the ride. Endurance Horse Podcast is where you get to share your adventures of riding good horses through beautiful country. Many stresses in life are washed away by a good gallop, a steady trot, or by simply saddling up your favourite horse for an easy ride. Remember, every mile a memory.